Hello and welcome to the Wards. I'm Jo Thomas. In this series we're going to take you through an orientation to the ward environment, starting with who's who. It's not totally comprehensive, but we're going to introduce you to some members of the healthcare team that you're going to find around the ward. You may recognise some of these names and some may be less familiar. During this series we'll take you through most of them, I hope. So in Who's Who, we'll talk first about nurses, because these are someone you're going to encounter on a fairly frequent basis on the wards. As I've outlined here, there are different kinds of nurses, all of whom are licensed professionals with different levels of specialisation and training. I'd encourage you to get to know the nurses well. They can help guide you in the ward environment. Next is the doctors. Now, you'll probably have been assigned an intern buddy. The medical mob is quite hierarchical. If you see a ward round, there might be quite a few doctors plus students all hanging around together. I've put a diagram on the left to show you how the hierarchy works in terms of pecking order. So a consultant is also sometimes called a staff specialist or a visiting medical officer or a VMO. They're the fully qualified specialist practitioner and they usually got the title of consultant. Patients are admitted to hospital under their care. You'll usually only see the specialist when they do a ward round. Next in line is the registrar. They undertake further training in a chosen area, such as general practice, surgery, or specialist physician. They manage the day-to-day care of the patient. They'll be available in the hospital most of the time, and they usually work in 3 to 6 month blocks on any unit. So they provide direct supervision to the intern and the RMO. The RMO stands for Resident Medical Officer. So they've usually worked in hospital for more than 1 year and they rotate to different areas every few months. Some of them are gaining further experience before they decide what specialty training to pursue. Interns are doctors who are in their first year after they've completed their university degree. And this is a supervised year of practice which has to be completed satisfactorily before gaining full registration. You'll have an intern buddy that can help you understand which patients to see and point you in the right direction, giving you lots of tips. Another member of the healthcare team that you might see around the wards is the physiotherapist. They're responsible for assessing patients' mobility, looking at whether they need walking aids, for example. Sometimes they do specialised things like hydrotherapy or respiratory secretion management. Often referred to as OTs, the occupational therapist helps look at how a patient can carry out activities of daily living. You'll sometimes find them testing patients in a mock-up of a kitchen to see how they go with those kind of things. And they're a very important member of the healthcare team to assess suitability to return home or perhaps what supports might be needed. Social workers have a role in advocacy and helping patients problem solve and cope with a whole lot of stresses of daily life, which is particularly important when people find life-changing episodes occurring in hospital. They might be helping people transition into a different phase of their life, such as entering a nursing home. They're an important member of the team to look out for. Unlike the OTs and physios, you might not find them easy to recognise because they don't wear a uniform, so you might need to ask them who they are, what their role is. The ward pharmacist is another person who won't necessarily wear a uniform or be readily recognisable. They have an important role in reconciling what medications the patient's been taking versus what we perhaps think they've been prescribed by the GP or by the hospital doctors. They have a role in educating patients, obtaining medication histories, and they'll also be able to advise the team on interactions and other more technical aspects of prescribing. So this has been a very brief roundup of just a few of the roles that you'll find people playing in the healthcare team around the wards. Hopefully you'll be able to look out for those people. Perhaps stop and chat, ask them about their roles, learn more about them. In the next episode, hopefully you'll tune in to learn about the dangers in the ward environment and how to avoid them. See you next time.